Well, Hi-Ho Bar and Grill has started to decorate for Christmas. I have the Ingolds as well. I know you've been itching to get
for
going.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got all my Christmas stuff. I haven't put it up yet, but it's out and ready. I got a nice, sweet Christmas village that my wife hates because every year I add a new piece, and I already don't have enough space for it all. So
hopefully the Vuvuzelas can make their appearance again. I know that's something that the UCM team and staff kind of get annoyed with, but that's also why we do it, and it kind of makes it a little bit more fun.
Our girls are ready. I mean, we know what's at stake here. I know MIAA conference champions a little bit out of our reach, but we're very close, and I think for KPI standing reasonings, like, they're ready to go. They know, like I said, what's at stake.
I think that's good for our kids to play on the road, because if you want to be good in the league, you got to be able to win on the road, and it's tough. So battle tested early is a good way to put it, and every game on the road is crucial.
You look at how we've performed and how we've executed and how we've played together the last 3 games, and you can tell that our guys took the challenge and they responded well.
They're a fun team to coach, and they're a passionate team to coach, and you don't have to beg them to come to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, they love it. They get along together. They don't point fingers. They take ownership. They see it, and they see where we're falling short too.
You're listening to the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, giving you an in-depth look at Missouri Western athletics with interviews, features, game broadcasts, and more. Here's your host, Tommy Rezaj.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Hi-Ho Bar and Grill and our Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, off and rolling on this Monday, November the 11th, 2024. Of course, it is Veterans Day in the United States today, so on behalf of everyone at Missouri Western State University, we salute you. We thank you, all veterans everywhere, Griff Nation and beyond. And to everyone else out there today, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, whether you're listening live on gogriffons.com/listen, the Varsity Network app, or also watching the podcast back on YouTube or listening to it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Glad you're with us for another busy show. It was a heck of a busy weekend for the Griffon Sports Insider team and all of our athletics administration staff. There were a total of 13 different games being played on our campus this week, 7 of which involved Missouri Western teams, and look at that. We got through it. We survived, and great attendance, great turnout, great atmosphere, and for the most part, very good results for Missouri Western, which we will talk about over the next hour or so. Going in no particular order, once again, we did have one team wrap up its season this past Saturday. That is men's and women's cross country, taking part in the Central Region Championships this past Saturday in Joplin, and a pretty strong finish, I think you could say. The men's team finished 9th out of 31 teams, and all 3 of the women's competitors there PR'd in the event. We wait to see if there are any at-large bids for the national meet coming up, but we'll kind of close the book for the most part on cross country with Coach Cody Ingold coming up a little bit later in the program. Of course, basketball, they had a busy week, 2 games for both of our teams. The women played at Civic Arena and the men played at the Missouri Western Fieldhouse in the Hilliard Tip-Off Classic. And combined basketball goes 4-0. How about that? The home openers for men's basketball and for the women officially tipping off their season with their first 2 official games. For the men, a 75-61 win against Northern State Friday, following it up on just yesterday against Augustana, 82-61. So the Griffon men's basketball team now 3-1 on the year, winners of 3 straight games. Basketball back on the road this weekend. The men, they'll go to St. Louis to take on Maryville University. That'll be a Saturday 5 p.m. Central Time tip-off there against the Maryville Saints. For women's basketball, they tipped off the season officially with a 79-68 win over Sioux Falls Friday. Followed it up the next night, Saturday night, against Augustana. Dominant win against the Vikings, 96-61. Women's basketball now officially 2-0 on the year. They played in the Central Region Women's Basketball Showcase from Civic Arena. Griffon basketball on the women's side on the road to the Rocky Mountain State. They're going to Pueblo, Colorado to face Colorado Christian Friday at 4 o'clock Central. Saturday they'll face Colorado State Pueblo at 6 o'clock in an event known as the Al Kaley Shrine Classic, involving a handful of teams across Division II from Masari Arena in Pueblo, Colorado. That's where women's basketball will be on Friday, Saturday. Coach Ashton Feldhaus will talk to us about that. Coach Will Martin will represent men's basketball, of course, on the program today. Missouri Western football had their rivalry game against Northwest at home, and turned out to be in the end, it was a pretty tight ball game. Northwest, it was a tight ball game at halftime, as we know. Griffins get down 17. Stage a rally, come up just a little short. The Bearcats win 33-23, but pretty good crowd, a crowd that did stick around, and it's certainly, once again, just another close game. And Missouri Western football will round out their season this Saturday with a non-conference game. The Quincy Hawks, a team that Missouri Western hasn't played in football since 1997. That was Jerry Partridge's first year as head coach. That's the last time we played Quincy, a team from Quincy, Illinois, out of the Great Lakes Valley Conference. Quincy comes in at 6-3, so it'll be a decent challenge for the team to round out their season. A 2 o'clock kickoff from Spratt Stadium, Senior Day. 17 Griffin seniors to be honored on the field on Saturday. Missouri Western soccer, they're obviously into their postseason by now, and wow, what an exciting weekend last few days it's been for soccer. Cleaning up on the MIAA postseason awards, Coach of the Year, Jake Plocher, Goalkeeper of the Year, Keely Krudenberg, Defender of the Year, Lauren Nyland. Will be joined by the MIAA Coach of the Year in women's soccer, Jake Plocher, as Griffin soccer started the MIAA tournament quarterfinal round yesterday afternoon, a noontime start against Nebraska Kearney in a 1-0 result. The Griffins score less than 6 minutes in. That's all they would need. The defense keeping Kearney off the board. The 12th shutout of the season. Soccer now 15-1-3, and we know what the semifinal match is going to be, and it's going to be a good one. Third seed, number 3 seed Central Missouri will play Western in the semifinals this Thursday noontime from the Stryker Sports Complex in Wichita, Kansas. Chance to get to the championship on Saturday. The MIAA Soccer Championship match would be Saturday, 2 o'clock from Wichita. And Missouri Western Volleyball, great weekend for them. A clean sweep of a weekend. They swept Central Missouri Friday, Missouri Southern Saturday. I tell you what, Missouri Western Volleyball, they're right in the thick of not only the Central Region race, but on the outside looking in terms of at least sharing an MIAA regular season title. 2 matches back of Nebraska Kearney. Now, we could use a little help from our friends up north, Northwest. If they could find a way to beat Kearney, and then we beat the Lopers at home, then you're looking at a pretty interesting picture at the top of the MIAA volleyball standings. We'll see. Either way, volleyball's playing great right now, 21-5, winners in 9 of their last 10. And yeah, it's a big weekend for volleyball. We know that, as they will take on Fort Hays State and Nebraska Kearney here this weekend. Thursday night, it's Kearney, number 5 team in the country. That's a 6 o'clock start Thursday. And then Friday at 6 o'clock, Fort Hays State for senior night for Missouri Western Volleyball. 4 seniors to be honored in that match on Thursday and Friday. So there you go. That's what we've got going on across Griff Nation right now. Volleyball, football at home. Both basketball teams are on the road. Soccer heading to Wichita for the MIAA tournament to continue the MIAA tournament. It's down to the Final Four as far as that is concerned. Semifinals Thursday and the championship Saturday. So some big stuff that we're playing for and competing for right now. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back and talk Missouri Western cross country, as they had a postseason meet this past Saturday in Joplin, the Central Region Championships, and the indoor track season's less than a month away. So we'll talk with Cody Ingold about that next on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on the Griffon Sports Network. We'll return in just a moment. Continuing on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, I'm Tommy Rezach, joined by our first coach, our first guest, that is Cody Ingold, as Missouri Western men's and women's cross country putting a end to the 2024 season, competing in the Central Region Championships from the cross country course in Joplin, Missouri. Missouri Western men's cross country finishing 9th out of 31 teams. Weemach Gilo leading the way with a 32nd place finish and a PR. 3 men's runners PRing, Pal Valderrama with a DNF. And on the women's side, 3 competitors, Lillian and Bailey Cutler, Bethany Grove, all PRing there. So Coach Ingold, 9th out of 31. That doesn't sound too bad, obviously. You know, the ultimate goal of regionals, got to be right at the top to get to nationals, I know. But, obviously unfortunate there for Pal. But otherwise, what were your kind of thoughts on the weekend?
All things considered, it was really, with the team that scored, if you would have told me that was going to be our top 5 and we were going to get 9th, I would have laughed at you at the beginning of the year. So that part's good. You know, we ran a regional Powell DNFing, we didn't have Bear Hay, and we didn't have Peter. So 3 of our usual top 3, most likely our top 5 for sure on our team, didn't race at the regional meet, and we were 9th, and we were I don't know how far from OBU, but not very far. So it's woulda, shoulda, coulda. Like, man, if we're full strength, how high up are we finishing? But the fact that the team that did score, or that did score for us, ran that well is awesome. Caden's had a rough year, and he battled back. He was just right outside of his PR, and he struggled. I've seen him, when he goes to this place where it starts hurting and it's not going well, he doesn't usually come back from it. And I found myself 3 times on the course, like, pleading with him to pick it up. And every time he responded, and he came back, which was great. We needed that. And, Mason McCain was supposed to redshirt this year, and he pulled his red shirt because he knew once Bear Hay went down, he knew we were going to need somebody. And, very selfless act by him. So Weemott's has been consistent. Jay-Z's always been consistent for us. So there's a couple things I wish we would have done a little bit differently, but they executed the race plan. First time they've ever actually all listened to me at the same time. It went out hard, and they just hit the brakes and slowed down. It all came back to them, and we were in a good position early. It's just, Powell ran until he couldn't run anymore, and he was 800 meters short. And, that's unfortunate. We talked a lot about it after. I gave myself a couple hours to kind of settle down and think big picture, and, we just had a conversation that next time that happened, if anything like that, you got to finish. Like, you have to. You're 800 meters away. You're in 21st place with 14th being in eyesight. So, I mean, he could have been the first one out or the last one in for a national meet if he finishes. So wow. It's just unfortunate. But if he finishes out, we only move a place up. That's the biggest difference. It didn't kill us. It's not like it was we're not going to the national championship because of that. But you got to finish those races unless you're getting dragged out on a stretcher. You gotta walk it in, walk, jog, whatever it takes just to get there. So.
Yeah. Some other results from that meet. Josh Zachary, aforementioned, finishing in the top 50. Caden Krieger, 59th. Mason Orschelin in 65th. And then Mason McCain, Logan Sutt? Sutt, sorry. Logan Sutt, both PRing there overall. And so, you talked about big picture as you look back on the season. Not easy on the women's side. Your top 2 runners having to redshirt. And then, finding that right combination on the men's side. But by and large, where do you feel like this team's made some strides, and what kind of excites you about the future of cross country?
Well, like I said, the fact that we were able to do so well, we talked about at the beginning of the year how deep we were, and a year ago, if our number 1 goes down, we drop from 9th to 25th, or however many teams are 31st. So that part's huge, is the depth there, and that means we're going to graduate some big guys, but bringing in some good pieces, and we have some good pieces coming back. So I'm excited for the future for that, and then with the way the women's team is going to look next year, it's going to be awesome. Those girls ran really, really well. Yeah. For, second on the course, it rained. It was a perfect day to run, but, we hadn't run in rain because it hasn't rained in forever, outside of last week. So I was a little bit worried about it, but they told them to go for broke, and they did it, and it went well. And so I'm excited that we turned the corner in that sense where we're not scared. We're not just showing up. We're actually showing up to race, and we're being competitive. So
certainly. Well, the indoor track season starts December 7th at Maryville with the Mel
4
Church.
weeks.
The Mel Church invite. So that in mind, I know many of your cross country athletes will be competing there too. So what do these next 3 weeks look like for you and the team?
Meeting with cross team today and tomorrow, and talk about what the plan is. Some will just some are redshirting indoor, but some are gonna start their break and not open up until January. Some are gonna open up in December. So we'll talk with that, and then track's been full go. So I'm excited to see those kids run. That's where I've been most of my time. I haven't been at cross practice very much, which is great that we have Coach Goose to kind of handle that stuff. So I'm excited what the track team's going to do.
Yeah. Well, Hi-Ho Bar and Grill has started to decorate for Christmas. I have the Ingolds as well. I know you've been itching to get
for
going.
Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, I got all my Christmas stuff. I haven't put it up yet, but it's out and ready. I was going to do it this weekend, but I was too tired yesterday. So throughout the week, I'll start getting. I got a nice, sweet Christmas village that my wife hates because every year I add a new piece, and I already don't have enough space for it all. So, I'm pumped. Christmas is just such a good time of the year,
It is, yeah. My mom always had a great Christmas village.
And, we have to look forward to Christmas, Tommy, because bowl season never worked out for us, so recently.
Hey, keep the faith. Few games to go. Cody, thanks for the time. Congrats on a fine season.
Appreciate
Thank you. All right, there you go. Cody Ingold to lead us off here on the GSI podcast. Let's keep it rolling. We'll continue on fall sports, and we'll shift gears to soccer. And MIAA Soccer Coach of the Year, Jake Plocher, will join us to talk about this historic season unfolding as his team gets ready for MIAA tournament semifinals. We talk about it next on the GSI podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. We continue from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on the GSI podcast. I'm Tommy Rezach, joined now by, I'll say it again, the MIAA Women's Soccer Coach of the Year, Jake Plocher. Missouri Western 15-1-3, coming off of an MIAA tournament quarterfinal victory against Nebraska Kearney yesterday. We'll start there, Coach. First off, again, congratulations to you and the team. And Aiden Woodall, a goal in the 5th minute. That was enough. And I feel like that match kind of unfolded like so many this year, where it's like, yeah, we had some good looks after, some close calls, but defense. I mean, that was the key yesterday. 2 total shots, the 1 on goal. Now, that 1 on goal had a chance to be an equalizer. Great save by the goalkeeper of the year, Keely Kronenberg, to keep that shutout intact. But yeah, I mean, just thoughts as you were coming off the pitch yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, we knew Nebraska Kearney was going to be a much better team. They've made so much improvement in the year and a half, 2 years now. And so they were also kind of riding that emotional roller coaster of getting into the conference tournament for that first time since, I think, 2015.
Correct,
so,
yep.
And I know their staff, and they're great, and I knew they were going to have them ready to go. They came out and they worked, and thankfully Aiden was in a good position to be able to poke one in, and that kind of, allowed us to kind of relax a little bit and then just kind of possess. And our defense, was playing lights out and allowed us to see it through.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth kind of in the box early. The goalie sent it out, and then Woodall just poked it right back in. So the Griffins an early opportunity and able to capitalize there. Well, the weekend started, I think it was Friday, when we learned about, all the accolades and stuff. Yourself and 7 players, and you take 3 of the most, 3 of the top awards in Coach of the Year, Keeper, and Defender of the Year. Shout out Laura Nyland, now a 2-time All-Conference honoree for the Griffins. But I know every coach says this, and it is true. But and I said it on the broadcast that A, it's it's a team award, and B, everyone who was honored unequivocally earned it this season.
Absolutely, and I even told our girls too. Obviously it's we over me, and the individual accolades are nice. I don't think any of the girls who got the awards would say they wouldn't have been able to got that without their teammates and everybody doing their jobs collectively. So it's nice to get that recognition. A lot of those girls we also felt were kind of deserving last year of it, but obviously how things play out, and so thankfully we were able to win a few more games and kind of maybe get a little bit more recognition than we have previously.
Yeah, 5 wins last year, 15 this year at this point, and Missouri Western for the first time in 7 years advancing to the MIAA tournament semifinals. And in terms of intriguing matchup, you couldn't have asked for better. We're going to get Central Missouri in a rematch, and boy, I was following the live stats. They were hosting Northwest Missouri State, a team that was on the bubble regionally. Northwest, thrilling match. Central Missouri scores in the 82nd minute, and they beat the Bearcats 3-2. So for the Jennies, this will be a rematch for us. We beat them when they were 5th in the country 4 weeks ago yesterday, 1-0 at Spratt Stadium. But suddenly, Coach, they've fallen out of the polls, but they've won 4 in a row, and they still are who they are, 13-4-2. One heck of a battle coming up for us Thursday noon.
Yeah, I still think, when you talk MIAA soccer, you think Central Missouri. They've been that standard. They know how to get it done in playoffs and postseason and national type events and games. So, we know they're going to be ready. I've been going back watching a little bit of the film, and that was a good game. Northwest, they've scored 6 goals on Central in their last 2 games. So, trying to kind of figure out what that secret recipe is to be able to score multiple goals. But they're a team that there's not a ton of weaknesses. And they're, like I said, they're composed. They've been in these moments. They know what it takes. So again, for us, it's another really big test to kind of see where we're at, and hopefully we're able to respond.
Well, I think yesterday, in terms of like the pageantry of this league, and what's that word for when people beat up on each other? I can't think of it right now, but anyway, the league was just a very entertaining day of soccer. UCO beat Northeastern 1-0. Heck, Washburn had to fend off 8-seed Fort Hays State 2-1, 3-2. Obviously, Central Missouri beating Northwest, and Missouri Western beating a Kearney program that we talked about it, winless 2 years ago. 5-5 this year. They are headed in the right direction. The Griffins, though, outlast the Lopers and get a chance to take on Central Missouri this Thursday at noon, with the championship match set for Saturday 2 o'clock at the Stryker Sports Complex in Wichita, Kansas. Coach, anything else before you head out there?
No, we're looking forward to it. Hopefully we can have a good crowd. Our parents travel fairly well, so we're excited about that. Hopefully the Vuvuzelas can make their appearance again. I know that's something that the UCM team and staff kind of get annoyed with, but that's also why we do it, and it kind of makes it a little bit more fun. So we're going to go out there and give it our best and see how it plays out.
Parity, that's the word I was looking for. The parity of this league, that was on display yesterday for sure. And the other semi is Central Oklahoma Washburn. They'll face off Thursday 2 o'clock. So going to be a terrific few days there in Wichita. Coach Plocher, so many congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There you go. Jake Plocher joining us, the MIAA Women's Soccer Coach of the Year, taking the 2 seed down to face the 3 seed Central Missouri on Thursday. All right, we'll take a break. We'll keep things rolling with fall sports, and assistant volleyball coach Izzy Enna pinch hitting for Jessica Fye, who is out sick today. So Coach Enna will join us to talk about a great weekend for that team. And the postseason implications definitely in play this weekend for Missouri Western volleyball. We discuss it next on the GSI podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Welcome back to Hi-Ho Bar and Grill and the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. I'm Tommy Rezach, talking Missouri Western volleyball now with third-year assistant coach Izzy Enna, pinch hitting for Jessica Fye, as Coach Enna and Fye put together pretty good game plan with these Griffins this past weekend. Sweeps against Central Missouri and Missouri Southern. Coach, thanks for coming up. Winning in 9 of your last 10, still unbeaten at home, 7-0 inside the Missouri Western Fieldhouse, and now you've evened the win total from last season. What a strong performance by your team this weekend.
Yeah, it was great. We knew this weekend was going to prepare us for, Kearney on Thursday, so we kind of just went with it and figured, put people out there who were going to help us on Thursday, and kind of rolled with that. But, playing UCM, we haven't beat them since 2017.
Correct.
And we were looking for it. The senior class was definitely looking for it, and they went out there, and, every position was firing. So it was really fun to watch and to see. And against Southern, we struggled in the beginning, but kind of took it away after that first set, and they really just kind of put their foot on the gas and didn't slow down. So
yeah, kind of breaking down these matches. Central Missouri on Friday, 25-18, 25-20, 25-23. I know UCM, down. They lost a bunch of people. If you can sweep the defending MIAA tournament champions, and yes, a team we hadn't beaten 7 years, a 13-match losing skid snap. So just from a big picture aspect, such a big deal of a victory there. 7 ace serves, very efficient night, only 12 total errors, 7 blocks up front, and it seems like defense was kind of a big carrier there in that match.
Yeah, I felt like we struggled a little bit with their outsides. They were kind of pelting our corners. We couldn't quite figure it out. But I think as the match went on, we made really great adjustments in the beginning, and then we kind of were able to stop them. But defensively, we've been really great this year. Back row, front row, obviously I'm a defensive guru, so that's kind of what I do with them. But I thought defensively, especially our block has really stepped up the past few weeks, and our middles have been doing a really great job.
Absolutely. And then on Saturday, Missouri Southern, a 6 o'clock start there. At a competitive first set, Griffins outlasted 26-24, and then kind of conquered the last two, 25-11, 25-18. Southern held to just 30 total kills on an 083 attack percentage, 71 digs. Noel Sutcliffe, a nice day with 13 kills. I think Coach Fye talked about it in one of the videos that I think Cole Weiberg made and put out there, that just the response after that first set was pretty darn good.
Yeah, Southern has been a team who's been struggling this year, and we knew that. But that's always scary when you play a team like that. So we, like I said in the beginning, we were trying to find pieces that were going to help us for Thursday, and I thought Noelle did a really great job stepping in there. And I think she had 14 kills, something like that. 13 kills and hit 4 or something. So she did a really great job for us. And I thought Southern came out really strong in the beginning, and they're still kind of a team that could possibly get in the tournament with KPI standings. So they really came out there and were fighting, and our girls they had to respond, and they did after that first set. I think after those last 2 points, they turned it on and just kept going. So
absolutely. And shout out to Kyle Schmidt, who broadcast both of those matches on Friday, Saturday, helping us out with a busy weekend. So certainly appreciate that. Well, big weekend coming up here. You get to stay home. Obviously, that's nice. Senior Day, but also MIAA implications and the Central Region implications. 2 games to go here in the regular season, and we sit 2 games back of Nebraska Kearney right now in the MIAA standings. So they're playing us in Northwest this week, and Missouri Western only a match behind Central Oklahoma for number 2 in the league. And of course, we own that win over UCO. So let's break it down. Thursday, 6 o'clock, 5th-ranked Nebraska Kearney. That is faculty and staff appreciation night. And then Friday at 6 against Fort Hays State, a Hays team that still has an outside chance to get their way into the MIAA volleyball tournament. Senior night on Friday, as we know. We own a win over Hays, 4 sets on the road. And yes, we were swept by Kearney, but when the first set is lost 35-33 and the second 28-26, that score can be a bit deceiving. And, of course, you'll honor 4 terrific seniors on Friday, too. But you've seen these teams before. Just what's kind of your overall diagnosis here?
Our girls are ready. I mean, we know what's at stake here. I know MIAA conference champions a little bit out of our reach, but we're very close, and I think for KPI standing reasonings, like, they're ready to go. They know, like I said, what's at stake. So they're gonna be tough. They're not a very flashy team, and we know that, but I know they just beat Washburn in 5. Washburn almost took them, so we'll be watching that, and we're really excited as coaching staff, as a team. We're definitely ready to go. The way we played last weekend, the girls proved that. So
now, there's been a lot of talk of KPI recently. Missouri Western has been toward the top there, and we know we're in regional consideration. I guess I was somewhat unfamiliar with KPI before this year. What is kind of the difference there, like, between Central Region rankings and KPI? How do they kind of correlate? Or
I mean, KPI is key performance indicator, so
Gotcha.
It kind of goes off of your strength of schedule.
So kind of like a Ken Pom basketball type thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
So what we did for preseason, Coach Fi did a really good job of scheduling those in region games and our tournaments and playing really tough teams like Concordia, St. Paul, and Regis and teams like that. That has really helped us with our schedule. And then being in the North region of the MIAA, like, we're playing Kearney, Washburn twice, like, we're playing all those tough teams twice, whereas the South region doesn't really see that. So, winning those games has been key for performance indicators. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
yeah. Oh, I guess how much do they look at that? Do you know when they do see the tournament? Does that trump regional rankings at all?
I have no idea.
Okay.
That's probably a Coach Fi question. But I have no idea. I would think so, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll find out how that all plays out soon enough. But we got 2 really big regular season matches still to go before the MIAA volleyball tournament in our city coming up in just over a week. But 5th-ranked Nebraska Kearney, Thursday at 6 o'clock, big time match there, and then Friday night at 6 against Fort Hays State. Griffins look to remain unbeaten at home, winning 9 of their last 10, 21-5, and we'll get the first official regional rankings this week. They had the alphabetical one this past week, so we'll know where we stand with our peers in the Central region here this week too. So it's a very appealing week. I know a stressful one, but I'll be there, Coach. Can't wait for it, and good luck.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, there you go. Izzy Enna joining us, the Missouri Western assistant volleyball coach, pinch hitting for head coach Jessica Fi. Thank you to Izzy for the time. All right, let's take a break. Let's shift gears to basketball, and we'll stay with women's basketball. Ashton Feldhaus will come up here and talk about a great weekend in the Central Region Women's Basketball Showcase from the Civic Arena in St. Joe. A couple regional wins in the Griffs. Go to Colorado to play a couple of RMAC teams. We'll talk about that when we come back. It's the GSI Podcast live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. We continue from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill at the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast on a Monday. I'm Tommy Rezach, talking about another team that went 2-0 on the weekend. That is Missouri Western Women's Basketball, 2-0 on the young season. Wins over Sioux Falls and Augustana in the Central Region Women's Basketball Showcase. First-year head coach Ashton Feldhaus here to talk about it. Coach, welcome. Congrats on a great weekend. And what can we say? 2 pretty strong performances, 2 regional wins, a lot of people getting some valuable minutes. And I think this was kind of a theme this weekend. What's most apparent is a lot of tools in your arsenal, and those pieces on your team able to do quite a few good things in those 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought I was happy because we have only played against ourselves. Obviously, we had the couple scrimmages, but to finally get out there and in a live game setting, to see how many pieces we actually had and who would perform on that stage. The same thing we thought it would be as practice-wise, but we do. We don't have anybody on our team that has to play 30-plus minutes a game, which is a really nice luxury to have because I haven't had that in years prior.
Yeah. Well, breaking down that Sioux Falls contest, a bit of a slow start. Took us a few minutes to score, but once we broke that glass ceiling, things started rolling. We're leading by 19. They go on their run, 5-point game start of the 4th, and then just a very gutsy effort 4th quarter. Sioux Falls only shot 2 of 14 in the 4th, and I think that's a good thing in the sense of early test. You absorb a run, you withstand that test, you weather the storm, and you answered back. So a mixed bag, but ended up being a good result there in game one.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Basketball is such a game of runs, right? Like, you're never going to get up and team not really make a push back, especially good teams. And I thought Sioux Falls was. They're a completely returning roster. So
correct.
Had they not been that, I would have been a little shocked. But our kids were great. They responded in the fourth quarter, and we challenged them defensively. Like, you have to get stops. And we're such a good team when we're in transition, but it requires getting stops. And I thought we did that in the fourth. And then we had some people make some gutsy plays down the stretch. You go to Alyssa, Tiani, Jesse hit the big three in the corner. So many different people there that all stepped up and kind of did their job. And then finally in the fourth, we rebounded a little bit because we didn't the entire game. So
yeah, and then Augustana, a bit of a different thing where they had a new coach, some new players. It's certainly a new lineup anyway, and they pressed you hard. They sped us up a little bit, but like you said, transition, if anything, speeding us up, it may have been an advantage for us as the Griffins hit 16 threes in that what ended up being a huge win against Augustana. The final there again was 96-61, and everyone getting to play in the game. You shoot north of 50%. I didn't realize till sometime after. You block 8 shots and you force 22 turnovers, so very complimentary basketball right there.
Yeah, we knew they were going to press us. I thought they would for 40 minutes, but having Alyssa and Marie both, we just got the ball to the middle of the floor. They did execute our game plan. We just said, keep the ball in the middle. They can't trap you. And then once you get out, get ahead of the crowd and then look up the floor. And I thought we did, and we spot shot. So you're right, 16 threes. And again, glad to see some kids have the ball go through the basket because they hadn't really to that point. So kind of a confidence builder game for us. And then, I don't know about the block shots. We always tell them we're not a shot blocking team. We want to stay on our feet, but we'll take, I guess, whatever we can get there. But yeah, brand new team, brand new coaching staff for Augustana. So we only had the one game, but I thought the one game that we did scout, I thought Coach and I, to be fair, we knew everything that they were going to do, and our kids executed a game plan again, which was nice to see.
Yeah, Augie had played Fort Hays State the previous day, so quick turnaround for all those teams, kind of a Friday, Saturday right there. A lot of NSIC teams and MIAA teams doing battle in our city this past weekend. All right, so you're going on the road this week to Pueblo, Colorado for the Al Kaley Shrine Classic. A couple of games against RMAC teams. You'll face Colorado Christian Friday, 4 o'clock Central, Saturday, Colorado State Pueblo, the host school. That's a Saturday night start at 6 o'clock. So a bit of a road trip here to the Masari Arena in Pueblo, Colorado. All I know, Coach, is these teams are 0-2. I haven't dug too deep into this. I know you guys have probably started to scout, but, a bit of a trip, a bit of a bonding experience, if you will, and some out-of-region, out-of-conference flavor here. Just what's the big key going into this weekend?
Yeah, they both 0-2 against the same teams. Played Lubbock Christian and UT Tyler, which are really good teams.
Yes.
So these aren't, it's not like their losses are bad losses at all. They both played two really good teams, two different styles of basketball. The first one's a little bit slower paced, but they're just fundamentals, right? And you have to guard all of them at the three-point line, similar to us, but don't quite push pace. So I think our key is to get to Colorado and still be able to push pace and do it back-to-back nights, which is going to be the theme here the next couple weeks, even just like this past weekend. So, bonding, no doubt, with our 9-hour bus ride, but no, it'll be fun.
Absolutely. Again, those games coming up on Friday and Saturday, and the times you see on the website, those are Central Time starts. Colorado Christian 4 Central on Friday. Saturday, an evening game at 6 o'clock against Colorado State Pueblo in the Al Kaley Shrine Classic from Pueblo, Colorado. So the Griffins will play a couple more games, and then before coming back to resume the non-conference schedule. And just kind of talking about that, you guys have a pretty good diversity here. You're going to go to Concordia and Moorhead in November. We play former MIAA member Lincoln at home on Tuesday. That'll be the first time at the Missouri Western Fieldhouse. So, you have several games more on the road. A lot of ball to be played before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, when Coach and I took the job, there wasn't really much scheduled for us. So we kind of had to hit the ground and hunt for games. And, of course, no one wants to come play here. So we're on the road, I think, first seven of our first 9, I think, or 8 of our first 9. But I think that's good for our kids to play on the road because if you want to be good in the league, you got to be able to win on the road, and it's tough. So battle-tested early is a good way to put it, and every game on the road is crucial. And, we'll be looking forward to Lincoln for sure. And they're the same thing. thing. It's new coaching staff, new players, so there's a lot of unknowns looking at our schedule, but we're on the road early, which I think in the long run will do nothing but help us.
Yep, and 2 more regional tests there in Wednesday, November the 20th, and then the 21st at Concordia St. Paul, at Minnesota State Moorhead. So lots to like there, and then conference play December 3rd in Maryville, if you can believe that. Well, Coach, congratulations on a great weekend, and safe travels. Good luck in Colorado.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, there you go. Ashton Feldhaus joining us to cap off to recap the weekend of women's basketball and look ahead to that road trip there to Pueblo. Let's take a break. We'll talk men's hoop next. Another team that went 2-0 on the weekend. That's Will Martin and the Missouri Western men's basketball team. We'll discuss what's coming up for them as well next on the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Welcome back to the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph. I'm Tommy Rezonch, talking men's basketball now with fifth-year head coach Will Martin, as this team is off to a pretty good start now after the loss to Lubbock Christian. 3 straight wins, all against regional opponents at home for the Hilliard Tip-Off Classic games on Friday and Sunday. Wins over Northern State and Augustana. Coach, good to see you. 2-0 weekend, double-digit wins, regional opponents, things to improve upon and build upon as always. But, man, some great performances by your guys this weekend.
You just had to sneak Lubbock Christian in there, didn't you?
I didn't mean to, yeah.
No, it's been great to see our guys respond. I think that you learn more in the losses, and that sounds cliche, but we had a lot to learn from our first game. And you look at how we've performed and how we've executed and how we've played together the last 3 games, and you can tell that our guys took the challenge and they responded well.
Looking at Northern State, a close game early on, and we kind of thought that's what it would be. Griffin's up 4 at halftime, and then you're leading by 20, and then we're, getting down to the last couple of minutes. They hit some shots, and they cut it to 8. You call a timeout, less than a minute to go. You're pleading with your guys, just to go out there, finish strong, and that they did. A 6-0 run, made some free throws and things like that, and Zion Swader logs his first career double-double. You score 28 points off 21 turnovers, while you yourself only committing 9 turnovers. So, I know it was probably a little bit lackadaisical there for a minute, and then you rallied them a little bit, and they responded to you, and end of the day, it's a 14-point win.
Well, our message all year has been there's no finish line, and so if there's no finish line, you have to be obsessed with the process and the work. So it doesn't matter if there's a minute left and you're up 20, if there's a minute left and you're down 20, you're not focused on the result, you're focused on your process. And so, we had to shock the guys into system a little bit in that Northern game, and I think they responded by finishing really strong against Augustana. So still finding micro ways for us to get better, but we're starting to piece the puzzles together.
And then Sunday, Augustana was the test there, a 4 o'clock tip-off, and you start really strong. Lead at 20-8. The lead builds to 26, and then you're able to play pretty much all of your guys. It was good to see a guy like Kai Green get out there, and Matt Nunez, and Josh Book, and the like. And I know you felt like when your next 5 are out there, yeah, they held us scoreless for the last 2:30. I know that's not exactly what you wanted to see, but for the 37, 38 minutes before that, so much to like. 11 made threes, dominant on the glass, 37-19, 21 second chance points, and Zane Nelson has been so productive as we thought he would be, as we know he can be. 21 points in that victory. And how about Julius Dixon, a first career double-double, 18 points and 10 rebounds. So that first 95% pretty good, but you said those last few minutes, those are guys that you hope to be big role players down the road here.
Yeah, the one thing that was most impressive about that game for me after watching the film is you mentioned we had 21 second chance points. They had 0. And so one thing that we've really been working on as a team is no compounded mistakes. No compounded mistakes in basketball, no compounded mistakes in life. So what I mean by that is we can live with you turning the ball over. We're going to make some mistakes, but what we can't live with is turning the ball over, having a very slow reaction time, not sprinting back and not building our wall in transition, and then giving up 2 points on the other end. So what you saw in that game against Augustana is that the mistakes that we did make, and we're going to make mistakes every game, we didn't compound them.
Yeah.
And that's the sign of a really good team. We're not there yet. I think that we have a chance to be good. I think we have a chance to be great. Right now, we're still chasing that, but when you have 21 second chance opportunity points and you execute on those and the other team has 0, that shows that you have a team that's disciplined, focused, and ready to go. And so I was really proud of that. A lot of really good individual performances. But the other thing that I like about our last 3 games is that, and you always do a great job of pointing it out on the radio, is that we'll go first 4 minutes of the game and we have 7 guys that have scored. Not just touch the ball, but they have actually scored. And so we have guys that are selfless and they're trying to be consistent with getting everybody involved. And when you do that, it keeps the defense on their heels. Like, it's really easy for us to keep the defense behind the ball when we're getting to multiple sides, we're getting multiple paint touches. And, Steve Kerr always says the ball's going to find the right guy. And so when you're out there and you're just worried about executing our offense and executing our reads and executing our angles, the ball's going to naturally find the right shooter. And I think our guys are starting to really buy into that. And the beautiful thing is that when you have that selfless team attitude, you do have opportunities to succeed individually. And you saw that from Julius Dixon last night. You saw that from Zane Nelson. You saw that in Zion Swader again. And so we have guys that are having a lot of individual success, but their individual success, that is a residual effect of them putting the team first. And that's one thing that we've harped on all year, is that it's always about the team. It's never about the individual. But, it's a crazy thing in life, man. It's a great paradox, is when you're putting something that's greater than yourself first, typically you do well, you do better individually. So I think our guys are starting to experience that. We're not there yet, but it's been fun for me as a coach to watch that manifest.
Yeah, both games we've had 5 guys in double figures. So great to see Ethan Kilgore yesterday have a collegiate career-high 14 points. I mean, he was a dog out there, 6 of 8 shooting, so that was a lot of fun to watch. One game this weekend, you go across the state to the St. Louis area to take on Maryville University, the Saints, a team that, 0-2, but I think 2 quality losses. Northern Michigan, Michigan Tech is who they played over the weekend, and they're going to be at Central Missouri this Wednesday night is Maryville, so we'll probably learn something about them there. Team that this program hasn't played since 2018, your first year on campus with Sundance Wicks. What do you know about Maryville so far?
I remember that trip was not a fun trip, if I remember correctly, in 2018 with Sonny. I think it was a Thanksgiving tournament maybe. Do you know? Do you have that in your data?
I don't have it pulled up.
Come on, Tommy.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Maryville, they have a brand new coach, a lot of new players. They're very talented. So it's really important all year, but especially this early in the season, don't look at their box scores. We're sitting there, we're watching the film, and we're being tedious on individuals, their actions, how they're coaching, what they're doing defensively, because this time of the season – records are not indicative of how good a team is. And that's why you have to be careful. Last year we start off 7-0, and all of a sudden you think everything's sweet, and it's not. That's not indicative of how you're going to finish the season. And so, they're 0-2 right now, but they have a big matchup against UCM on Wednesday, which will be a great opportunity for us to kind of see what UCM does and scout them again. But I know that they're very talented. I know they have a really, really good coach who's going to get them to buy into his new culture and his new system. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think that's going to be their first home game. And so to play them in their first home game after they've taken some losses, that's always a challenge. So for us, it's going to continue to be, we're more focused on us than the team. Obviously, my staff has to do a tremendous job. I have to do a really good job in scouting, but we want to take that pressure away from our guys, and we want them to dominate the glass, take care of the ball, and do what we do. We're going to have them prepared for the scout. They're going to know what the other team does. They're going to know what the other team's tendencies are. But for us this year, it's us versus us. In the Lubbock Christian game, I feel like we beat ourselves. And so the last 3 games, I feel like we've done a better job of not beating ourselves. And so it's going to be the same thing against Maryville. We're going to be prepared for them. We're going to know what they do. But our focus is be here now, focus on the process, focus on the work, and don't allow yourself to beat yourself.
You're right. It was the UMSL Thanksgiving Classic.
Oh, it was terrible. I think we went 0-2.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
I was an assistant then, though. I wasn't the head coach.
Yeah. Doesn't count against your record.
That's on Sundance.
Well, Meds basketball winners of 3 straight, going back on the road. Maryville this Saturday, 5 p.m. is the start time for that one. Coach, I think I'll be back here, but good luck to your guys. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Tommy.
All right, there you go. Will Martin joining us here on the GSI podcast. Yeah, Maryville going to play Central Missouri Wednesday night, so chance to watch them on the MIAA network and get a feel for what they're all about. Let's take a break, and we'll talk football with head coach Tyler Fenwick as they gear up for their season finale, a non-conference battle against Quincy, and Senior Day, all coming up this Saturday. We discuss it next on the GSI podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. We continue from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, talking Griffon football now with the head coach Tyler Fenwick. We were back home this past Saturday to take on Northwest Missouri State in the Battle of Highway 71. A very competitive first half, as we thought and hoped it would be, and then Northwest getting on a run there in the third quarter. The Griffons, though, staging a rally, getting to within a touchdown, and then Northwest, the field goal at the end, 33-23. And, I know, Coach, that's not an easy one. So many ebbs and flows in that game. Some mistakes, some plays that we made to get us back into it. I know it feels like Groundhog Day a little bit. Frustrating for a number of reasons. Just what are your thoughts right now?
It's frustrating because, you lose and you play to win.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we're a competitive football team, and we're not a bad team, and we got good players and all that stuff. And I thought the Northwest game was a really good football game. I mean, it was physical. It was everything we thought it was going to be. I mean, it was going to be a physical. I think Northwest is honestly. I mean, they got 4 losses. I don't know how they got 4 losses. I think they're. They're as physical as anybody we've played.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no. Afterwards I thought, man, there's not a defense that we played against that even comes close to matching the physicality and the aggressiveness and the size. Not even Pitt. And Pitt's, that's going to be an interesting game this week. Pitt and Northwest. Because I think Northwest is better than them. Just playing both of those teams, I think Northwest is better than them. So, but we knew it was going to be physical, and we the third quarter was we had some rough patches there, and just couldn't get into a rhythm. I thought we started off okay offensively, and then we had the big penalty on our right tackle. Holding penalty that put us into 1st and 20. You can't do that against those guys. And then it kind of just stalled out a little bit, which I'd argue the penalty, but Anyway, but then so we're down 17, and I'm thinking, okay, 2 things are going to happen here. Down 17 in the third quarter, we're either going to get run out of this place, and we're going to give up, and it's going to get out of control, or we're going to figure out how to flip the tide and battle back. And that's just who we are. I mean, our kids are competitors. They don't quit. They don't know how to quit. And things happen, and all of a sudden we drive down and kick a field goal, and it's 14 points. And all of a sudden we drive down, we score a touchdown, and it's 7 points. And we're seriously sitting there having conversations about, okay, if we score, are we going to go for 2 and win the thing, or are we going to go to overtime? I mean, those, you're down 17 in the third quarter to Northwest, and you're not having those conversations. You're just trying to survive, and you're just trying to flip the momentum. And then all of a sudden we're sitting there going, okay, what are we going to do if we score? What are we going to do? Yeah. So that was, and then obviously, we throw the interception and that ends it right there. But, we had opportunities, and, we're close. We're right there. We have opportunities to go down and tie the game or win the game or whatever. So, a lot of credit to our kids, and that's the season that they've had this year, all the adversity that they've gone through. It would have been so easy for them to just throw in the towel in the third quarter and just say, here we go again. But they didn't, and that's just not in their DNA. That's just that's the way they practice. That's the way they come to work on Tuesdays and prepare for the next game. And it's they're a fun team to coach, and they're a passionate team to coach, and you don't have to beg them to come to work. You know what I mean? I mean, they love it. They get along together. They don't point fingers. They take ownership. They see it, and they see where we're falling short too.
Yeah, and especially Bleak when they block a punt, they take over on our end, and you're thinking, oh boy, and then it's stroke of good fortune, a missed field goal. But thought it on the block punt there. I guess.
That's a bad one. That should have never happened. They only brought 4, and we missed a block up front that shouldn't have happened. That one's disappointing because that's one of those things where that's an easy one, and you got one guy that makes a mistake and doesn't get a punch and whiffs, and it puts a lot of pressure on that shield when that happens.
We talked about their defense. I think, no defense has pressured our quarterbacks as well as they did for sure. They come up with 5 sacks. They had the strip sack there early. Your defense held them to 3, which was big. And, I keep talking about the toughness of your quarterback because he keeps showing it. He took some big hits. He was facing pressure, made some tough throws, and Jonas Bennett making some big plays when you needed him. Jake Berry, the touchdown in the fourth quarter. I mean, your quarterback and the receivers, I think you guys held up given what you were going against. They shut down our run game. They do that to everybody. And when the game was on the line and Burwell had to make some plays, I know the interception happened, but he got us back into it for sure.
Yeah, no, he definitely did. And he is tough. And our offensive line, I mean, it's a bunch of sophomores, and it's James Lucio that's playing with one arm and one leg. Then he's just trying to battle it out in there. And so those guys are in there fighting, and I think that, we've given up 10 sacks on the whole year this year up until this game. And we gave up, 5.
5 total, yeah.
Yeah, so they've for as young and as inexperienced as they are or were going into this season, they've really played pretty well.
Yeah.
And I think the quarterback position, has played pretty well as far as helping, not giving up sacks, getting the ball out, and not holding it on too long. And then Burwald obviously has, the ability to get out and make some things happen with his feet. He actually slid this week.
Yeah.
So that was in the game plan. He's get out and slide and protect yourself and let's not take some shots that he's been taking. So, but he's a competitor. He's tough. He's fiery. And I think the guys are starting to rally around that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the offensive line, that was kind of a big question we had at the start of the year, with guys like Quentin Garrett, Joe Turner stepping into some bigger roles. And, we talked about, maybe moments of immaturity with penalties here and there. But in the trenches, when it's actually, mano-a-mano, they've held their own quite well so far this season.
Yeah, and we were probably, really honestly and realistically, we're probably outmatched, against that defensive line.
Yeah.
That's a big physical,
couple
aggressive.
all-conference guys up there, yeah.
Yeah, they got some all-conference guys, and our guys are, we hadn't seen that yet. And, and I think on the flip side of it, we didn't get much of a pass rush either, and that's the first time this year that we haven't gotten much of a pass rush, and we kind of let that quarterback sit in the pocket and kind of buy some time, and then when you do that, that puts pressure on the secondary to cover longer, and that's they get some guys open. So that was a little bit of a problem too. It's a big offensive line that they got. They got some big boys.
Well, I think I remarked, I know that in terms of Northwest, them missing the playoffs 2 years in a row is like the apocalypse. But for over the 20 years that they've been who they are, the size and physicality, that's kind of been their consistent thing, identity over the years. Well, moving ahead to this week, last game here, it's a non-conference game against Quincy, and they're pretty decent. Hawks are 6-3. They've won 3 in a row. They won at Southwest Baptist Saturday. It's a team we haven't played since 1997, Coach Partridge's first year, but none of that exactly matters. That's just kind of for fun. This is about our seniors and finishing strong. 17 seniors in all, and just like last year, so many of these guys that were recruited here before you got here, and they chose to not go to the portal. They chose to finish their career with you and with this staff. So with that in mind, that's an easy enough motivator right there.
Yeah, no, it's there's 18. You're missing somebody. We'll have to figure out who that is, but I think there's 18 seniors. But it's a special group, and they deserve to go out with a win. They deserve to go out and play well, and it is a non-conference game. Yes, it is. We're not having a great season, but really it all comes down to let's go out and play for these seniors. They've been through a lot. They've been through a lot of turmoil. They've been through a lot of ups and downs. A lot of changes, COVID, staff changes, big wins, tough seasons. They've been through a lot of things, and so they've a lot of kudos to them because they easily could have hung it up. They easily could have left. They easily could have quit on the year, but that's just who they are, and I think that's why our team is loaded with a bunch of guys that don't know how to quit, is because of this senior class. They don't know how to quit. They've shown that.
Mm-hmm. And I guess, when you scheduled Quincy, what was kind of the, everyone kind of scheduled this non-conference game, now that they've had this 12-week season. Was Quincy just the one that agreed to play you? I guess, how do you kind of sort out
that? So I think we drew the short end of the stick with trying to, getting the 11th week, so there's not very many teams that have an 11th week non-conference game open week. So we kind of, somehow they
luck of the draw.
Luck of the draw. So it was either go to Northern State in November or bring Quincy here. So we decided to bring them here. I didn't want to go to Aberdeen, South Dakota in November. I didn't want to deal with that.
Yeah, you could be dealing with
snow.
And
honestly, Quincy, they're 6-3, so
it's a good team.
When you look at that conference, and they're in our region as well.
GLVC,
so that's another part of it is, if we had a better year this year and we were pushing for the playoffs this year, now you're sitting there playing a team that's got a winning record,
strength of schedule.
that helps the strength of schedule. That's also in your region. That's going to help your playoff bid. Unfortunately, we didn't get there.
Yeah, GLVC part of Super Region 3 with the MIAA as well. So Griffins didn't quite get there, but a chance to get some momentum, some good vibes, I guess, going into the off season in recruiting, and a chance to send 18 seniors outright. And 2:00 game back home again, so that's a good thing at least. Hopefully, we have better weather than Aberdeen, South Dakota at this time of year. Coach, thanks for the time.
Supposed to be nice though. It's supposed to be nice all week.
Yeah, it's supposed to be dry, so that is good. Coach, thank you.
Good.
I appreciate the time.
Yep.
All right, there you
Thanks,
go.
Tom.
Tyler Fenwick joining us here on the Hi-Ho Luncheon. Tyler will have the week off of the panel this week. He'll join us next week. Our coaches panel this week will be Jake Plocher, Izzy Enna, and our basketball coaches, Will and Ashton. They'll come up for a few minutes for the roundtable of irrelevancy to send us out on this Monday. Back in a moment on the GSI Podcast. Welcome back. Our final segment is the Roundtable of Irrelevancy. Happy to have Ashton Feldhaus, Jake Plocher, Will Martin, and Izzy Enna back on the panel. Jake was off last week. Coaches, thanks for coming. Well, I said right at the outset, it is Veterans Day here in the United States today. Got me thinking, coaches, any veteran service member in your life, maybe it was a friend, a family member, that you think of on a day like today?
I mean, to me, it's my father. He was in the Navy for a little bit, but then he spent 20 years as a rescue swimmer in the Coast Guard. So jumping out of helicopters and doing all that fun stuff. So he was gone for a lot of time, but he always tried to make up for it, especially in high school and college, of trying to make all of our different sporting events to be there and be a part of it. But obviously, I appreciate everything that he did and went through. So
that's a heck of a lead-off. Well done. That's awesome. All right. Coaches, how about you guys?
I would say my fiance's grandpa. He passed away this past year, but just an amazing human. He was a Vietnam vet, so he, really cared. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear me. He really cared about the United States and as a whole, and just a great human. So obviously he's very missed, but very great guy.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah, I think of Grandpa Clark Kersey for me. He was stationed in the Philippines in World War II, and he was younger than I was. So certainly, that's kind of a poignant day here. Coaches, on a bit of a lighter topic, I try to look for something in current events that's not completely divisive or depressing, but I did see something that Best Buy's early Black Friday sale is already live. Coaches, I'm curious, are you yay or nay on Black Friday shopping? Probably moot for our basketball coaches. Bigger priorities, but I don't know. Any thoughts on Black Friday? Do you like it? Do you hate it? What do you think?
I hate it.
Yeah,
I think it's crazy that so many people will go stand in lines and do all that stuff and get up or not even go to sleep and go try to get a spot in line. It's absurd.
Yeah. Coaches, Izzy, how about you? Anything there?
So I have memories from when I was younger. My mom and I would go Black Friday shopping at Target and Macy's, JCPenney's, and we would get up at 3 a.m. and go stand in line just to go look at the Christmas deals. I would not do that today. I don't even know if they do that today. But I do like Black Friday online, so Cyber Monday.
That works.
That's a good one. Let me put it like this. Let's say that you were forced to go out there and go Black Friday shopping. What's that maybe gift or deal this year that you're looking like, man, I'd love to save some money if you had to go out Black Friday? What's maybe something you'd want to save some money on this year?
After Cole Weiberg. Ooh.
Oh.
Turn my mic off?
No.
Cole Weiberg came over with his laptop, and I think my mom, who's here with us today, I think she sent me a signal flare that she wanted a MacBook. So if they have a discount on Black Friday, but I don't believe in Black Friday. I think it's all propaganda because now, especially online, there's there's like 12 Black Fridays now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like every time I look online, it's like, now it's Black Friday. So it's like. Back in the day, like Izzy was talking about, like back in the day when it was like actually Black Friday, like I had some crazy aunts and uncles that would go stand in line for like hours for Teletubbies and stuff like that. But now there's discounts all the time. It's all propaganda.
That or you see the before price and it's the exact same as the after price when they move the sign.
We're all sheep.
Not actually,
we're all sheep in the cog.
I'll feed into this.
Ashton, you've been quiet. Any thoughts on that? Or
I do find shopping online. I'm not really. That's it.
In-person shopper. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Coaches, last thing, turning 50 years old today, actor Leonardo DiCaprio. Favorite Leo movie role? Anything come to mind there? Most iconic? Lots to pick from there.
I mean, it would be injustice to just choose one.
Yeah,
probably.
He might be the greatest actor of all time.
I think his performance in Wolf of Wall Street is just
good one.
crazy.
Yeah, that was the biggest Oscar snub in history, possibly. Yeah. Izzy, Ashton, anything there?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I do not watch a lot of movies.
No.
So, I mean, I know who he is, but I don't really have a choice where I'm like, yes. So, I'm not a big movie person or at all. I don't really follow actors. It's not really my thing.
Could he have fit on the that
door
board or the door. In
they've done tests.
Yes.
I think James Cameron went on a documentary and they proved it would have been rough. They probably would have not either one of them made it. Ashton, I don't want to disclose you. Any favorite Leo DiCaprio movie role? Anything come to mind there?
Not at all.
She's all basketball, man. Like Black Friday shopping, Leo.
I struck out. Yeah, right
sorry.
there. Yeah, but no, that's okay. I think Jay Gatsby in the 2013 Great Gatsby remake. That'd probably be my choice. Coaches, thank you. Good luck to all of you this week. All right, thanks for the time. Thank you for humoring me here on the Roundtable of Irrelevancy today on the GSI podcast. That'll do it for us today. Good luck to all of our teams competing. Soccer in the MIAA tournament, both basketball on the road, football against Quincy, and of course volleyball at home against Kearney and Fort Hays State. That has been the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. Again, please subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and we'll see you next Monday, November 18th. Until then, have a great rest of your week. So long.